story: Harvest of Hauntings. Every year, my son Jeremy and I visited the same pumpkin patch on the outskirts of town to usher in the Halloween season. The memories of those trips, the hay rides, the corn mazes, and the search for the perfect pumpkin were cherished moments. But one particular visit to the pumpkin patch would forever haunt our memories, as we discovered that the place we had loved for so long was shrouded in dark and malevolent secrets. It was a crisp October morning when Jeremy and I set off for the pumpkin patch. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the fields of vibrant orange pumpkins. The air was filled with the scent of fallen leaves and the promise of Halloween. We could hardly contain our excitement, our laughter mingling with the chatter of other families who had come to pick their own pumpkins. The pumpkin patch, with its seemingly endless rows of plump orange gourds, was a paradise for the Halloween enthusiast. The atmosphere was festive, with children laughing and playing in the fields, and the hay rides offering a glimpse of the sprawling expanse of the patch. As Jeremy and I set off to explore, our footsteps were soon swallowed by the rows of pumpkins. We were determined to find the perfect one, a pumpkin that would serve as the centerpiece of our Halloween decorations. But as we ventured deeper into the patch, an unsettling stillness settled around us, and the cheerful sounds of the other families grew distant. We stumbled up on an old, weathered scarecrow that stood at the edge of a corn maze. Its tattered clothes flapped in the breeze, and its face made of burlap was worn with age. The scarecrow's eyes seemed to follow us, and Jeremy couldn't help but shiver as he reached out to touch it. The day began to take on an eerie quality as we continued our search. The pumpkins around us began to shift and sway, their orange faces seeming to come alive in the shifting light. The corn maze loomed ahead, and we decided to explore it in search of our perfect pumpkin. The maze was a twisting labyrinth of towering corn stalks, their rustling leaves casting unsettling shadows on the ground. As we ventured deeper into the maze, the path seemed to stretch on endlessly, and the sense of isolation grew with each turn. It was during our journey through the maze that we first encountered the haunting whispers. The voices seemed to come from all around us, their words a chilling murmur that sent shivers down our spines. They spoke of a dark and malevolent presence that lurked within the pumpkin patch, a force that had cast a shadow over the once joyful place. Jeremy clung to my side, his eyes wide with fear, as we continued our search. The pumpkins in the maze seemed to leer at us, their faces contorted into grotesque grins. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, as if some unseen force were watching our every move. It was as we reached the center of the maze that we encountered the source of the haunting whispers, a dilapidated old barn that stood at its heart. The barn seemed to loom over us, its weathered wood and peeling paint a testament to years of neglect. As we approached the barn, the whispers grew louder, their words filled with dire warnings. The voices spoke of a malevolent spirit that had been awakened by our presence, a spirit seeking retribution for some ancient wrong. Despite our mounting fear, we couldn't resist the pull of the barn. We pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside, our flashlights cutting through the darkness. The interior of the barn was a chilling tableau of Halloween horrors. Rows of decaying pumpkins lined the shelves, their faces twisted into grotesque expressions. Cobwebs hung from the rafters, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. As we explored the barn, the sense of foreboding intensified. We knew that we were not alone, that some malevolent presence watched our every move. The whispers grew more insistent, their words filling our minds with chilling warnings. We soon discovered a hidden chamber in the barn, a place that had been the site of some unspeakable ritual. The walls were adorned with symbols that seemed to writhe and crawl, and the air was suffused with a malevolent energy that clung to our skin. It was then that we realized that the pumpkin patch was not simply a place of Halloween delight, but a realm of haunting horrors. The malevolent spirit that had been awakened by our intrusion sought to claim our souls, to make us part of its eternal harvest. The barn seemed to come alive, its decaying walls closing in around us. The symbols on the floor began to writhe and shift, forming a grotesque tableau that filled us with terror. We knew that we had to escape, that our very lives were at stake. As we fought to leave the barn, the whispers grew louder, their voices filled with malevolence. Somehow, someway we escaped with our lives, but that day will never leave my mind. Story: Haunted Halloween Hysteria. College Halloween parties were always the highlight of the semester, filled with elaborate costumes, pulsating music, and the promise of unforgettable memories. But the Halloween party I attended during my sophomore year would be etched in my mind as a night of terror, as the line between reality and the supernatural blurred in a series of chilling events. The party was hosted at a sprawling old mansion that was rumored to have a dark and mysterious history. It was the perfect setting for a Halloween bash, with dimly lit rooms, cobweb-covered chandeliers, and flickering candlelight that cast eerie shadows. The air was thick with anticipation as we gathered, our costumes ranging from the whimsical to the macabre. As the night wore on, the atmosphere grew electric, the music thumping and the laughter echoing through the mansion's grand halls. The dimly lit rooms became a labyrinth of dance floors and lounges, each more captivating than the last. In a corner of the mansion, a room was set up as a haunted maze, complete with cobwebs, flickering lanterns, and costumed actors ready to terrify guests. As my friends and I entered the maze, the atmosphere inside grew colder, and a shiver ran down my spine. The maze was designed to lead us through a series of dark, winding corridors, with actors leaping out from hidden corners to startle us. The eerie ambiance was chilling, but it was all in good fun, or so we thought. As we ventured deeper into the maze, the tension in the air grew more palpable. The actors' performances had taken on an unsettling realism, their eyes filled with a malevolence that sent shivers down our spines. The laughter and screams of our fellow partygoers faded into the distance as we delved deeper into the haunted maze. We soon realized that the maze had led us into a hidden section of the mansion, a place that felt untouched by time. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and a haunting silence had descended over the room. We felt a mounting unease as we continued to explore, the chill in the air growing colder. As we turned a corner, we were confronted by a sight that sent a chill down our spines. A room filled with ancient, tattered costumes. The costumes hung from the walls, their fabric and masks weathered with age. It was as if we had stumbled upon a place of forgotten memories, a chamber of time-frozen horrors. As we examined the costumes, the feeling of being watched became more intense. The air was heavy with a presence that seemed to encircle us, and we knew that we were not alone. The laughter and screams of the party had faded into a distant echo, and a sense of isolation gripped us. It was then that we heard the haunting whispers. The voices were hushed, their words a chilling murmur that filled our ears. They spoke of a malevolent spirit that had been awakened by our presence, a spirit seeking to claim our souls and make us part of its eternal party. Our unease deepened as we realized that the haunted maze had led us into a place of unspeakable horrors. The costumes around us seemed to come to life, their fabric shifting and their masks contorting into grotesque expressions. We knew that we had to escape, that our lives were in danger. As we turned to leave, the room seemed to shift and warp, its walls closing in on us. The costumes leaped from their hooks, their movements fluid and unnatural. The air was filled with a malevolent energy that seemed to wrap around us, suffocating and relentless. We ran through the maze, our hearts pounding and our breaths coming in panicked gasps. The actors who had once played the roles of haunted creatures now seemed to embody them, their movements inhuman and their eyes filled with a malevolence that sent us fleeing in terror. As we burst out of the maze, the chilling whispers followed us, their words a haunting refrain that echoed in our minds. We knew that we had encountered something beyond the realm of the ordinary, a supernatural force that sought to claim our souls. The party had taken on a nightmarish quality, as the mansion itself seemed to come alive with malevolent energy. The dimly lit rooms had transformed into a twisted realm of horrors, and the once celebratory atmosphere had turned into a nightmare of epic proportions. My friends and I fled the mansion, our hearts still racing, our faces pale with terror. The Halloween party that had promised fun and revelry had become a nightmarish descent into a realm of supernatural horrors. As we looked back at the mansion from a distance, we knew that we had encountered something beyond the realm of the ordinary. The haunted maze had led us into a world of malevolent spirits and supernatural terrors, a realm where the line between reality and the supernatural had blurred. The memory of that fateful Halloween party would forever haunt our nightmares, a chilling reminder that some mysteries should never be unraveled. Story 1. The Haunting After Halloween. The day after Halloween, when most kids were still sorting through their candy haul and savoring the last remnants of spooky excitement, my two friends, Mark and Sarah, and I decided to venture into an abandoned, allegedly haunted house. It was an adventure born out of equal parts curiosity and youthful bravado, but we had no idea that it would plunge us into a nightmarish realm of terror. The house had long been the stuff of local legends. Stories of mysterious happenings, ghostly apparitions, and a malevolent presence that was rumored to stalk its darkened halls had circulated for generations. On that crisp November day, we decided to put our fears to the test and explore the mysteries that lay within. As we approached the dilapidated mansion, a chill ran down my spine. The peeling paint and overgrown weeds hinted at years of neglect, and the very atmosphere seemed to vibrate with an eerie energy. Our footsteps on the creaking porch echoed in the silence, a silence so heavy that it felt as if the house itself were holding its breath, waiting for us to cross its threshold. The front door, long ajar, beckoned us inside. We exchanged anxious glances, our bravado wavering, but the thrill of the unknown pushed us forward. We entered a dimly lit foyer, its grandeur now faded into a haunting decay. The air was thick with the musty scent of abandonment, and our footsteps sent dust swirling through the stagnant air. As we ventured further into the house, our flashlights pierced the darkness, revealing tattered wallpaper, broken furniture, and cobwebs that had transformed the space into a spectral tapestry. The place had an eerie silence, as if the very walls held their breath, and we moved in hushed tones, wary of what might be lurking in the shadows. Our journey through the mansion was punctuated by the occasional sound, a floorboard groaning underfoot, a distant whisper, or a door swinging open with a mournful creak. We dismissed these noises as mere products of an aging structure, but a growing unease settled in the pit of our stomachs. The legends surrounding the house were never far from our minds. We had heard tales of a malevolent spirit that was said to haunt the mansion, a spirit seeking revenge for some ancient wrong. Our dismissive laughter from earlier now seemed misplaced, as the weight of the house's history and its whispered horrors began to bear down on us. In the dim light of our flashlights, we came across a room that had been boarded up, its entrance sealed with wooden planks. It was said that this room held the key to the house's dark secrets, a place that had been the site of unspeakable tragedies. With a mix of trepidation and curiosity, we decided to remove the boards and uncover the room's hidden horrors. As the planks fell away, the room was revealed, a chamber of horrors that sent a shiver down our spines. The walls were adorned with grotesque drawings, the floor littered with symbols that seemed to writhe and crawl. The air was suffused with a malevolent energy that clung to our skin. We realized that we had uncovered the heart of the house's darkness, a room where some unspeakable ritual had taken place. The air seemed to grow colder, and our flashlights flickered as if fighting against some unseen force. It was as if the room itself was resisting our presence, urging us to leave and never return. But our curiosity got the better of us, and we began to explore the room, examining the sinister symbols and searching for any clues to the house's dark history. As we delved deeper into our investigation, a disturbing sensation enveloped us, as if the room's malevolent presence had come to life. Our flashlights flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. In that blackness, a haunting whisper filled the room, a voice that was both seductive and sinister, beckoning us deeper into the abyss. Our hearts pounded and a sense of impending doom descended upon us. Then, as if responding to some otherworldly command, the walls of the room began to close in on us. The symbols on the floor seemed to writhe and shift, forming a grotesque tableau that filled us with terror. We knew that we were not alone, that the malevolent spirit of the house had awakened, and it sought retribution for our intrusion. As the room continued to constrict, we scrambled for the exit, our fear-fueled desperation pushing us to the brink. With every step, the whispers grew louder, the malevolent presence more palpable. We were engulfed in darkness, our terror drowning out all reason. Our escape from the room was a chaotic blur, a frantic flight from a malevolent force that seemed determined to claim our souls. We burst out of the house gasping for air, our faces pale with terror. We knew then that the legends were true, that the house was indeed haunted by a malevolent spirit. Our encounter had been a chilling confirmation of the horrors that lay hidden within.